This segment is brought to you by Barker Honda. It's better at Barker.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Bayou Time. I'm your host, Keith Weissite, licensed clinical social worker with Terrebonne Home Care. Very glad you're joining us. However you may be joining us, we appreciate it very, very much. And always glad to get updates from Assumption Parish Sheriff's Office. We turn our attention to Commander Lonnie Cavalier. Commander, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Hey, Keith, thanks for having us.
All right. So let's get started with this first drug law violation of Blake and Benoit.
Yes, Bobby Joe Blake, 36 of 118 M. Hall Avenue, Napoleonville, and Anthony Jr. Benoit, 30 of 2559 Highway 308, Labradorville, were arrested on felony drug charges arising from a traffic stop on Highway 1014 north of Labradorville. A uniformed patrol deputy observed a vehicle with an equipment violation southbound on Highway 308 near the Highway 1010 bridge and attempted a stop of the vehicle. The suspect vehicle disregarded the deputy and continued on in an attempt to flee. The deputy pursued the vehicle and observed items being tossed from the vehicle. The suspect vehicle turned east onto Highway 1014 and continued for a significant distance. And at some point, the vehicle stopped and the driver and the passenger exited the vehicle. Deputies were able to locate the items thrown from the vehicle. Deputies recovered marijuana, methamphetamine, and drug paraphernalia. Bobby Joe Blake and Anthony Jr. Benoit were both arrested and booked into the Assumption Parish Detention Center on charges as follows. As to Bobby Joe Blake, he was booked on counts of possession of methamphetamine, possession of marijuana, possession of drug paraphernalia, flight from an officer, tail lights required, and a fugitive warrant from Terrebonne Parish. Bobby Joe Blake remains incarcerated pending a bond hearing. Anthony Jr. Benoit was booked on counts of possession of methamphetamine, possession of marijuana, and a probation parole violation. Anthony Jr. Benoit remains incarcerated pending a bond hearing. However, he is being held without bond on a probation violation.
Very well, Commander. Thank you for that update. How about the ICE arrest of Mr. Burrell?
Yes, Malik Taquan Burrell, 22 of 514 Frederick Drive, Thibodeau, was arrested on drug charges arising from a traffic stop on Highway 1 near Pankerville on Tuesday. A uniformed patrol deputy assigned to the ICE detail observed a vehicle with a licensing violation and conducted a stop of that vehicle. The deputy made contact with the driver, now identified as Malik Taquan Burrell, and initiated an interview of Burrell. The deputy noted a pungent odor of suspected marijuana emitting from the vehicle as well as from the person of Mark Taquan Burrell. The deputy noted a bulge displayed from Burrell's pocket which Burrell identified as marijuana. The substance was seized. During a search of the suspect vehicle, deputies seized a quantity of hashish, which is a 89% THC derivative, suspected marijuana, and drug paraphernalia. Mark Taquan Burrell was arrested and booked into the Assumption Parish Detention Center on charges of possession of hashish, possession of marijuana, second offense, possession of drug paraphernalia, no proof of liability insurance, switched license plate, driving on roadway lane for traffic. Mark Taquan Burrell was released on bond.
Okay, we appreciate that update. Last, let's talk about this Michael James Watkins and a failure to notify or identify as a sex offender.
Yes, Michael James Watkins, 57 of 188 Matthew Lane, Belrose, was arrested on sex offender registration violations and a warrant for failure to appear in court in Assumption Parish. Michael James Watkins was convicted of forcible rape and aggravated crimes against nature in Assumption Parish on March 30th of 1990. As a result of those convictions, Michael James Watkins is required to register and notify as a sex offender for the remainder of his life. As conditions of the registration process, Michael James Watkins is required to comply with specific requirements. Watkins violated the terms and requirements of the registration process, resulting in a warrant being issued for his arrest on July 22nd of 25. Michael James Watkins was arrested by the Ascension Parish Sheriff's Office on July 23rd of 25. Watkins was transferred to the custody of the Assumption Parish Sheriff's Office on the same day and booked into the Assumption Parish Detention Center on charges of failure to register and notify as a sex offender, warrant for failure to appear in court in Assumption Parish on June 23rd of 25 on counts of DWI, first offense, careless operation of a motor vehicle, and driver must be licensed. Michael James Watkins remains incarcerated and was ordered held without bond.
And again, Commander, we appreciate those updates. You know, it's just one of those things where we want to let people know that if you're going to use illicit drugs, if you're going to use those and try to sell those, somebody's going to catch you. And,
absolutely. And, you know, we got a great unit and they do great work.
Right. And also that, you know, when you're expected to be in court for whatever it is, everybody has their day in court. If you don't take advantage of that, then warrants are going to be shared and people can no longer just go and hide somewhere. That information goes to all of law enforcement. And we talk about it all the time as we wrap up, that you guys do such a great job communicating. We're going to make sure that other places that we know if there are fugitives and there are people that have warrants.
Yeah, it works great with us and surrounding parishes. You know, we have a good relationship with them, and it really works good.
Yeah. Commander, we appreciate your time as always. Thank you for all the hard work that you and your team does. We'll keep our streets safe, and we'll make sure that we finish out the summer with a good, healthy way.
Thanks, Keith, for having us.
Yes, sir. All right, guys, that'll do it for this particular segment, but don't go anywhere. We got a whole lot more right here on Bayou Time here on HTV.
This segment was brought to you by Barker Honda. It's better at Barker.